Hi, welcome to the Cup Night channel. My name is Shane, and today I've got a message for you. Whenever this finds you, this is a timeless reading. There's probably something for you here if you have stumbled upon this video. Please use your own intuition above anything that I say, and let's begin. I have an animal guide for us today for this message, and it is the Tasmanian Devil. Yeah, in this particular tarot deck, this is the Five of Wands, but I'm going to focus more on the Tasmanian Devil itself than the Tarot Association, although there is this idea of conflict with the Five of Wands, and it specifically says conflict, competition, hiding from truths on this particular card. So, that energy has been present heavily this week in pretty much every reading I've done so far. Yeah, I actually feel guided to use the book for this one. So I'm going to look up the Five of Wands, which is the Tasmanian Devil. Let's see, right here. All right, so this will kick us off. Also, I'd like to point out, today is Wednesday, which is Mercury Day, so I am connected to the energy of Mercury, which is currently in Sagittarius. Sagittarius, heavily activated right now. I've been seeing Sagittarian themes everywhere in my life, so keep an eye out for that. That's things like focus, goals, adventure, higher learning, expansion. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, so yeah, biggest gas giant in our solar system. Those kinds of themes. Also, big egos, right? Which can cause conflict. So let's see what it says about the Tasmanian Devil. A dog-sized creature living in Australia, the Tasmanian Devil has quite the reputation because of its loud, unnerving screech. The Tasmanian Devil will, under no uncertain terms, make itself heard when it wishes. Yeah, and that theme has been coming up a lot lately too. Something is going to be very vocal and prominent, and you can't ignore it, and it's going to be kind of like publicly known. It seems like, yeah, somebody is they're they're making some announcement, or they're causing some trouble somehow. This marsupial is also fierce, having a bite ranking among the strongest in the animal kingdom. This creature lives up to its devilish designation. Yeah, so this is something with some teeth, right? This has got some bite to it. It really is conflicting energy. The Tasmanian Devil's intensity may be why the creature prefers a solitary life. While it looks pudgy, don't let that fool you. Tasmanian Devil loves swimming, and the creature embodies lightning speed up to 8 miles per hour. While illustrating hardy endurance, even in the middle of a hot sunny day, nature hides many secrets behind the unthreatening visage. Behind an unthreatening visage. Yeah, so something might appear to be hunky-dory, but really there's this very antagonistic energy kind of brewing behind the scenes. Dating in the Tasmanian Devil's world represents the spirit of competition between potential mates, experienced in many settings. After finding a partner, the male safeguards the female until after birth, but Mr. Devil has no intent to give up bachelorhood indefinitely. Okay, so there's this energy of infidelity coming through. Meanwhile, Miss Devil has the role of mother for a year, then returns to liberated sexual activities. An interesting physical feature of Tasmanian Devils is the whiskers all over its head. They are like antennae, helping the devil find food in the dark, along with other fellow devils. It gives Tasmanian Devil the extrasensory symbolism associated with touch, clairsentience, but also a highly developed sense of smell, clairalience. Over their lifespan, Tasmanian Devils represent the importance of having a safe and secure home. They seek specific dens and, when possible, return to that den again and again. Those within thick grass or inside caves seem to make a comfortable space. Globally, Tasmanian Devil has become a symbol of secrets, particularly information hidden in the astral realm. Okay, so the dream space. What have your dreams been telling you recently? Tasmanian Devil is also a survivalist and powerful warrior who uses its voice to lead and inspire, which is interesting because on the pre-shuffle, guess what? We got the Emperor. Yeah. So talking about authority, leading, power, right? A masculine energy coming through heavy here. Interesting. And they do have some additional things. This one's standing out to me. As a totem animal, the Tasmanian Devil manifests in those who are their own priestess and guide. So perhaps you are leading yourself on some kind of spiritual journey. I'll leave that open just in case I need to reference it again later. All right. Yeah. So Mercury and Sagittarius, communication on goals, expanding your horizons, learning things like foreign things, foreign concepts, so brand new things, things outside of your familiar comfort zone, right? Lots of that going on. It seems like you are leading yourself, being very vocal about it, maybe ruffling some feathers along the way, but also I'm getting this energy of something brewing in the background, some kind of controversy that is going to be let out and publicly known and discussed. Yeah. So I did meditate a bit before I started this recording, and I just want to talk briefly about what came up. The first thing I saw was it was like a human figure that quickly morphed into a jet that was going straight up. And I was impressed. I wrote jet propulsion upward. So there's this really big burst of energy that's just like straight up. I heard Acido, like ACIDO. I have no idea what that means. It sounds Spanish to me. I'm going to type it in and see what comes up. Oh, there's a video. Cedo 3, super slowed. Whoa, this looks very interesting. 8.1 million views, 9 months ago, 8.1, 8.1 makes a 9. This is calling to me. Let's see. We're just gonna watch it here. I'm not gonna, yeah, I'm not sharing audio. It seems to be, let's see, the vibe guide. So you may want to check this out. I'm not, obviously it seems to be a song. I'm not gonna play the audio for copyright reasons. But yeah, interesting. I don't know why this came through. March 21st, 2025. So this was posted last year. Could be a significant date. That's 3-3. March is the third month, and then 2 and 1 makes it 3. So we have 9-9 and 3-3. Interesting. Okay, yeah. So if you're curious, you might want to check that out. I'm definitely going to after this. I'm gonna leave that up so I don't forget. The X chromosome I saw in my mind, like you know how you can look at it. Actually, you know what? I'll remember. It's fine. Say X chromosome. Might as well show an image. I have it here. Yeah, so it looks like this. X and Y chromosome combinations. I was specifically just seeing the X. It says Turner syndrome. I believe XX is female, if I remember my genetic biology class properly. So we've got male and female energy coming through. But also, I specifically only saw one, so Turner syndrome could be significant here. I don't know exactly what that is. We're going to go... It's a genetic condition that affects females caused by a missing or partially missing X chromosome. It can lead to symptoms such as short stature, delayed puberty, and infertility, and requires ongoing medical care to manage associated health issues. Okay, so yeah, this could be significant for someone who sees this. But yeah, something missing, right? Something's missing. A piece is missing, and it's causing difficulties, ongoing difficulties, conflicts, right? 5 of Wands, Tasmanian Devil. I had a very specifically vivid vision of a history teacher at it was either like a middle school or a high school, but they were somebody who cared a lot about what they were teaching, and they weren't just teaching like stories that were, they were teaching the kids how history is made and by whom. You know, that whole saying, like, history is written by the victors. It was like they were going deep into that. Like, you can't just believe every story you hear. You also need to analyze the source and their motives for writing it this way. So there's this big emphasis on, well, for one thing, somebody who is like in an authoritative position, and they're teaching people. They're not just rehashing like old storylines, they're actually teaching people how to think critically about the stories they hear and the sources that they come from, and what source was motivated by. Why are they telling the story this way? Where did their information come from? You know, that kind of thing. And yeah, Page of Swords underneath. Yeah, this is that curious inspection energy, right? Like being open to understanding and looking at things. Yeah, just checking things out, right? Being kind of a novice, but or at least dealing with new information in some way, something that you didn't know before. You're awakened to something. It says awakened on this particular version of the Page of Swords. Yeah, new evidence or something material. Ace of Pentacles. So related to these three, the Emperor, Page of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. Yeah. And then, of course, Sagittarius energy coming out. Temperance underneath that Ace of Pentacles there. Serenity. This is being in harmony with your environment despite what's going on around you, keeping a balanced disposition, staying committed to your goals, and just being in a generally good mood, even despite if there is like some conflict going on around you. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with you directly, but you're in the midst of it, right? And you're trying to stay on top of your goals and the things that you're interested in and trying to move forward. But yeah, interesting that I had like this history lesson coming out. Says on the bottom of the archetypes we had Anima Mundi, which is like everything, right? This is a representation of the world, the prima materia. It is everything. And whenever I saw this, whenever I came out of my meditation, I was like, oh yeah, that's the perfect card for this. I thought, well, we can't experience everything all at once because then we would just be nothing. That's why everything has to be so like. That's why time exists, so that we can experience things in this very linear fashion, so we can understand it deeper by means of duality, of separation, separating everything into very specific archetypes and figures so that we can understand it better, so that we can come to know ourselves. So, like, it's that whole idea of the universe. We incarnate as specific things so that we don't remember our divinity, so that we can experience what it's like to not be unlimited, to experience limitation, to know what that's like, right? Because if infinity exists, right, then every infinite possibility of everything that could ever happen also has to exist in order for infinity to be real, to be a real thing. And yeah, once again, we have the eternal child underneath that. So this idea of being a student, constantly being like curious and wanting to learn more, and having this just like inexhaustible power source, this thirst for more knowledge and curiosity and commitment to learning, right? Yeah, so that vision was very much the central point of my meditation. I think that's what's going on here in this message. Is there something that is being taught, whether it's from you to others or from another person to you, and it could be both even. But yeah, somebody is in a very powerful position, or they have this like spiritual authority in some way, and they are teaching very valuable lessons that aren't just surface level. They're very deep. And they challenge people, right? Five of Wands. They challenge people at a very deep level. Right after that, I heard, I want to go through the Golden Gate. And I immediately thought of San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge. I've never been there. That could be relevant to someone who's seeing this. Yeah, but that's not how it was impressed on me though. Like I thought of the Golden Gate Bridge, but what was impressed on me from this, I want to go through the Golden Gate, is that I want to choose the higher timeline. I don't want to go down the path of destruction and disintegration and people being divisive and hating each other. I want to go down the path of understanding and enlightenment. That's what I took that as. So it's like somebody wanting to learn, right? They want to embrace the possibilities with this childlike attitude of being the Page of Swords, being curious and learning from people who have been there, done that. listening to the wise people who have earned their position, right? People that they have evaluated themselves and they know that they can back up what they're preaching. They've lived it. They're not just listening to any old person. They're listening to somebody who has the experience, who deserves the position that they're in. And this can go either way. Put it where it fits for you. I wrote analyzing the source, not just the record. That goes hand in hand with the vision I had of the history teacher. And then I don't know why, but I started hearing Narcolepsy by Third Eye Blind, and I have been listening to that song quite a bit. It's just a good song. I like it personally. But Third Eye Blind, right? It's like somebody's not using their insight, their intuition coming through in that band name. And also Narcolepsy is about involuntarily slipping out of consciousness, out of a waking state into sleep, right? It's like you can't stop it from happening. So it's this, I'm getting this kind of like this, once again, this conflict, right? This fight between trying to stay awake, trying to stay aware, but constantly being pulled back into this unconscious level. And I'm not sure if that's a bad thing or a good thing. Perhaps you sometimes need to dip in, like we need sleep, right? But this narcolepsy implies that it's involuntary. You're not laying down to go to sleep. You're like trying to do something and then the sleep just hits you and you're out. And it takes you out of your waking experience, right? And from the lens of like enlightenment, because this is going with, I want to go through the golden gate. I want that enlightened perspective, right? It's like you're trying to get there, but it's like something keeps pulling you back into the depths. In the song, there's a part where he says, I can feel this narcolepsy slide into another nightmare. And it's like you're good, you're awake, you're on the path, you're doing all the things, and you're completely aware, and then it's just like something pulls you back into this unconscious shadow state, and it's almost like you can't help it. And like I said, I'm not really sure if that's a bad thing or a good thing at this point. Like it could be part of like a spiritual lesson that you have to learn, something like that. But just being aware that it's happening is one thing. Like awareness is the beginning of transformation, right? You have to recognize something before you can start to transform it. So that seems to be coming up as well. So yeah, there's a lot there right off the bat. We're gonna go. I'm just gonna see quickly. Mercury is, as you can see, in Sagittarius. It's in the 8th house, so we're still dealing with the 8th house, which is like intimacy, shared resources, secrets, things of that nature. And yeah, hiding from truths, right? Tasmanian devil. It says it on this card. Hiding from truths. I don't know if you can see that, but there it is. So let's go and get a saying, and then I'll pull some cards. Spirit, please give us the most appropriate saying for this message today. Thank you. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's funny, because before I randomized this again and there were 12 sayings out here, this was the first one. So emphasis on this. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Somebody might be hiding something because they think it's for the better of a group or for the better of a person or something like that. Like they're keeping something hidden or secretive. They're withholding information or resources in some way because they feel it's for the betterment of this person or of this group. That's what I'm getting from this. Interesting. Let's get a figure here. Spirit, most appropriate figure for this message, please. An elephant. Yeah, an elephant never forgets. Ganesha coming to mind, the Hindu god. This is a very Jupiterian figure as well. I love elephants. They're one of my favorite land animals. Elephants and whales. Those are my top two. I resonate most with them. But yeah, I love to see this coming through. Elephants are also very like fortunate symbols in a lot of cultures. They represent abundance and good luck, good fortune, things like that. Blessing, essentially. So yeah, but memory is sticking out to me because we're dealing with the history lessons, right? There's something that some story that somebody is going to remember or somebody is remembering, and it's like, okay, but why is the story this way? Who told the story? Where did the story come from? Let's go back to the source. okay, what are your sources, for this story? Where did you get this information? That somebody's digging in, right? Page of Swords. Somebody is doing some research. They're awakened. Yeah. They're resisting this like narcoleptic impulse to go back to sleep, right? Because now they're aware of it. And it seems like they have somebody within a position of authority who is aiding them in this process. If it's not them themselves coming into their emperor status, right? Embracing the emperor within them, right? So, yeah, let's get a little bit more. What is being remembered, Spirit? Story's not adding up. Story's not adding up. Make it make sense. Okay, we got a little stack that fell out upside down there. I'll take it. Five of Pentacles, loss. This could have something to do with somebody who is experiencing some kind of financial burden or material burden in some way. Let's see what these... There's a lot of these here, so... Alright, King of Pentacles, yeah. Definitely having to do with materials. I'm getting finances specifically, though. Two of Pentacles, once again, confirming somebody is juggling this financial burden at this time. Somebody who appears to be a King of Pentacles on the surface, maybe, perhaps, but they're going through this struggle with their belongings, their possessions, their finances at this time. There is a Queen of Swords. Oh, and a Queen of Cups here. Somebody, this is the same figure I'm getting. Somebody who is emotionally and mentally stable at this time, using their intuition and intellect in order to analyze. All they're doing is watching and listening and waiting. They're taking everything in. This doesn't have to be a female. It could be a male or, anyone. It is not sex specific or gender specific for that matter. Six of Swords and Page of Swords again. Yeah, so we have Queen of Swords and Page of Swords and the Six of Swords transition. Yeah. Somebody is going from an erratic state to a much calmer mental state, right? Six of Swords, that's what this is about. Transitioning from tumultuous environment into a calmer one, especially as relating to the mental landscape. So, yeah, there is something being discovered here. Somebody is discovering something about this person who is juggling this very tumultuous financial material situation. It's almost like they were trying to, because we're dealing with the 8th house, right? Hidden things, secrets. And it even says it again, hiding from truths here on the Tasmanian Devil, 5 of Wands conflict. Somebody's hiding something to do with potentially shared resources, right? 8th house also. But there is this queen figure as well as this Page of Swords, potentially could be a mother and a son. But it could also be like a grandmother or an aunt or any kind of it doesn't have to be though. It could also be an uncle or a brother or whatever. But anyway, an older figure and a younger figure who are kind of like, they're settling down mentally and they're coming to a clear headspace and they're remembering something and saying that doesn't add up. That doesn't add up. Queen of Pentacles on the bottom too. 3 queens out here. Yeah, somebody's taking their time to understand this and really taking all the details in, remembering things, remembering how this story doesn't seem to be making much sense now that they're really thinking about it. Very interesting here. Okay. Let's get some archetypes. Oh, okay. Yeah, the Shadow. Okay, yeah, and that landed over here by the 5 of Pentacles, the King, and the 2 of Pentacles. Somebody is operating from their shadow, or they're trying to keep things in the shadow, or both. they're not consciously they're not fully consciously making decisions. They're operating from a place of fear and letting their demons kind of take the wheel. It's funny, in that song Narcolepsy by Third Eye Blind, he talks about um, there's a demon in my brain and he starts to overwhelm. Yeah. And that's why this is coming up. Yeah. Yeah, but this is coming to an end, Thanatos. Death. This is the end of this web. See that web there and all this stuff in the center of it? It's like all these things are piling up in this web. And, well, it's time for the spider to come home and transform the situation, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's evidence in the midst of this. Something shiny in the midst of all this chaos, in the midst of all this nonsense. And it's because they're waking up. Yeah. They're waking up to something within themselves, which is in turn allowing them to see what's going on in their environment. See how that pearl is at the center and it's radiating outward and it's illuminating the space around them. They're seeing all the colors, all the details. All right. Let's get some nouns and then I'll probably wrap it up there. We're already at 26 minutes in. So let's see. Nouns. Okay, 8th house, income. Yeah, this is about finances. I told you. Shared resources. This is about somebody's finances. And it seems like how they are being mismanaged or misrepresented in some way. They are clouding the picture of what's really going on behind the scenes. Even in the 12th house, which is about hidden things as well, usually deeper spiritual, unconscious kind of matter, but number. Yeah, number. This has to do with numbers. The numbers aren't adding up. Huh. 10th house is, I was curious because I was saying the readings from the days earlier in this week were talking about this being, whatever the situation is, coming to the surface and it being publicly known. And I'm seeing in the 10th house, which is the public house, right? Nerve. Yeah, the nerve. It's like somebody's speaking up. Like it was saying, the Tasmanian devil has this very specific, loud voice, and it's not afraid to use it. It's not afraid to speak up. It's like they're embracing this inner authority, right? The emperor that we saw earlier, to speak up about something that they know is not right. Something that's been hidden, it's been causing conflict, it's just getting worse, it seems, and it's time for it to come out. Yeah, the passion to talk about this is building. The 5th house is passions and like it's creative energy as well. So also somebody could be working heavily on their creative side, building things, putting content out there, things like that. Playing music, painting, drawing, all that stuff. But also I'm getting this idea of energy building up inside, because 5th house is Leo, right? And Leo is expressive. It is the sun, right? It's like clarity, like there. It's building up to be released. Okay. I don't think I need to go much deeper on this. The message is pretty clear. But there is someone in your environment around you that is very wise and is teaching people how to think critically about something that is going on. And maybe the people around them haven't quite been ready to listen because they weren't in such a great mental space, but that's changing. Their minds are clearing out now. They're getting to a spot where they can, they're very balanced and they're willing to listen now. They're willing to entertain the idea that, maybe all the stories in my life right now aren't making sense or adding up. Maybe there is something going on that is operating behind the scenes in the shadow, right? Some illusions being cast. But yeah, this is changing. It's in transition. And Thanatos, that is just, it's over, right? It's like, this is ending. The number 73 could be significant to someone, or the number 10, which again is completion energy, the beginning and the end together, the 1 and the 0. Yeah. All right. That's all I have for you. Let me, before I close this out, we'll go just a little bit over 30. I'm trying to keep these videos to like under 30 minutes, but I do want to get some advice because, you know, it's always nice to have some advice. Let's see. Spirit, what advice can we have that is relevant for the viewer? For the person caught up in this somehow. Like I said, this doesn't feel direct. It doesn't feel like it's happening to you, although it could be for some of us. But it feels like something that's going on around you in your environment. I'm getting a really like solid you being in your emperor energy, getting things done, doing the things you want to do, building up your creative side, pursuing the things that you're passionate about. That kind of energy is coming through. But yeah. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, Queen of Wands, confidence, like I was just saying. Just remain in this Queen of Wands energy, being very magical, confident in your abilities, being able to attract things to you just by shining your light, right? Your fire. Tending to your inner flame. 7 of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, results in sharing. Yeah. Not only are you investing wisely, you're building things up to share with other people. 6 of Pentacles. It's like whatever you're doing, it's going to bring in abundance into your life. Whatever that means for you. You know, it could be financially, could be other ways materially, but Pentacles are the things we see in the 3D, right? So the physical realm. So yeah, 6, 7 also coming through here. So there's the meme. If you add those together, you get the number 13, which is transformation, which reduces to a 4, which is stability. So yeah, sharing in results from a very confident place. And would you believe it? Underneath that is the star. So yeah, like I said, just keep tending to that inner fire, that inner star. Shine, embrace your creativity, pour out back onto the earth what is within you, and you're going to be good. No matter what's going on in the shadow around you, this conflict that's brewing in the background, this illusion, right? 7 of Cups. You're going to have choices. There are illusions around you, but you will have choices as a result of you being in this Queen of Wands star energy. So keep up the pace. It looks great. I've been saying this in my other videos that I did earlier this week. The same message is coming up with like just little different perspectives each time. So you may want to check out those videos if you haven't. But that's all I have. If you need anything from me, check the links in the description for all of my videos. You can book a personal reading with me if you want. You can donate to the channel if you feel so inclined. As always, take care of yourselves. Keep your heart open. Bye.